Hello everybody, I am Shepples and welcome to my review of Zombie Shooter. Zombie Shooter is an old school style shooter created by Sigma Team and is a spin-off of their Alien Shooter series. Like Alien Shooter is an action shooter like games from the early 90s where the player must kill everything that moves and progress through a series of levels and stop the evil that threatens all of mankind. The player gets to choose between two characters from Alien Shooter 2, each with their own abilities, strengths and weaknesses. Like in the original Alien Shooter, at the start of each level you get access to the shop, where you can buy weapons, ammo, items, and increase your stats, all the while the shop getting a complete overhaul from the original. In Zombie Shooter, unlike in Alien Shooter, you increase your stats by leveling up during each level. With each level up, the player is granted a stat point to put into their stat of their choice. You get to choose between health, which increases your health, strength, which increases the total amount of ammo you can carry with each weapon, speed, which increases your movement speed, and accuracy, which increases the damage dealt with each weapon. Each stat point then increases the stat of your choice by 10% up to a maximum of 100%. Along with the change to the character stats, each weapon can now be upgraded a total of 3 times, increasing the weapon's stats such as damage and rate of fire. The game uses the Alien Shooter 2 engine, but keeps the style of play and camera true to that of the first Alien Shooter, and it looks fantastic and colourful. There are a large variety of different enemies, starting from infected rats and dogs, to general zombie walkers, faster zombies, up to genetically engineered zombies with guns and other nasties with disturbing methods of attempting to kill you. Like the original Alien Shooter, the player has a total of 9 weapons at their disposal, which would keep even the most trigger-happy zombie slayers pleased. The weapons are dual-wielding pistols, shotgun, grenade launcher, minigun, rocket launcher, disc thrower, plasma minigun, flamethrower, and everyone's favourite, the destructive magma minigun. The music score for the game is completely new and fits extremely well in with the game, having a somewhat zombie feel to each track in what I feel a strange and quite unexplainable way, and is extremely catchy, and you will most likely find yourself humming to it without even noticing. Like an Alien Shooter, the game has a survival mode where the player must survive as long as possible, along with the addition of gun stands, where the player controls a stationary turret and must survive again as long as possible, a mode introduced into Alien Shooter 2. Each mode is a lot of fun and a great way to kill off a bit of spare time and compete against friends and others for high scores. The game, however, is not without its weak points, in which somewhat surprising compared to Sigma Team's general high standard of development. On very rare occasions the game will not load a level properly, causing the level to be impossible to complete and forces the player to start over. Occasionally you can also get stuck in the walls, though generally you can get out with a bit of persistence, but on a rare occasion that sometimes does not happen, causing you to restart the level over. The level design is a bit of a letdown for any veteran of the shooter series, with little difference to the previous shooter titles, causing a sense of been here and done this already. On the last level of the game there is a boss fight, which did not come into the original Alien Shooter until the second expansion, Experiment. Despite there being a boss fight, however, it is a rather boring and unimaginative one, with the boss simply being a much bigger and very slightly adjusted version of the other enemies of the game. On top of that, the only way to harm the boss is to electrocute him through a machine in the middle of the area, and upon doing so, each time 4 groups of normal enemies spawn. This whole process must be repeated again and again until the boss is dead, leaving a somewhat disappointing and boring boss fight, especially since you don't even fight him in any shape or form directly, and most of the time it won't even be on screen. The last disappointment of the game was its difficulty. Even in hard it was not very challenging throughout in any shape or form. By the time you reach level 9 you are so overpowered that nothing can stop you, even in the hardest difficulty. A repeat of one of the downfalls in the original Alien Shooter, which got fixed in the expansions. Despite its rare glitches, disappointing boss fight and lack of challenge, it is very much a fun game to play, and once picked up, it's hard to put it down until the very end, and you may find yourself playing it through a number of times, which in my books gives it a healthy 7 out of 10. Zombie Shooter can now be purchased on GOG.com for a very reasonable $5.99, and is a game that you should play if you're any sort of zombie fan or any sort of action shooter fan. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Thank you, and have fun.